Good evening. Welcome to a Hangout of Witches. I'm Beth. This is the Cool Table, and we are so glad that you're here. I apologize for my neighbor's light that occasionally will show up through my window. I can't close my curtains because they're super old and they're sun bleached, and I have new ones, but I haven't put them up yet. So just bear with that light that occasionally show up behind my head. Hi. Thank you for joining us. If you are new, say hello in the chat. If you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, you can chat with us. You can ask questions. We will talk back to you. And it's a party. It's a witchy party. Thanks for everybody being here. Hey, Brett. Hey, Shelly. Hey, Emma. Hey, Jamie. Tonight we have maybe some new faces. If you haven't seen them before, I want to say hi to everybody. Heidi, say hello.
Hey, it's Heidi here. I actually thought your curtains looked like a little ombre, so it was fine.
They're striped.
Roll with it.
They're striped, but they're striped from the sun. Yeah.
Yes.
It's awful.
I'm it's Heidi with you guys. Let's do this. How about you, Courtney?
I'm Courtney. I'm here. I have wine. I have lots to say about Marcus and his choice in music and being scared of someone telling you that they're a vampire. That's it.
Yeah. Andy, say hello.
Hi. I'm so excited to be doing this episode. Stephen Cree tweeted me today.
Aw. On purpose? Like he's talked to you specifically?
Yeah, it was weird. So my friend Jamie was like, he doesn't look like Galaglass to me. And that's what he responded to. Well, she just said he wasn't like really tall, and she was like, I love Stephen Cree. She's like, but he's just not tall enough. He's not like how I pictured Galaglass. And he was like, I'm 5'10", 5'11" in heels. And we were like mortified.
Was he tagged in it?
No, we did not tag him.
Oh no, he's vanity searching. He's looking for that Galaglass good stuff and finding it.
It was pretty bad. I was also like, forget Galaglass. I like Marcus. It was super embarrassing.
Oh, he's out here vanity searching for himself. Stephen Cree, I thought you were cooler than that. I was mistaken. That's really hilarious. Hey, Shane. Shane says she's new, but she's not. Shane, I've known Shane for years and years. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Emma just said, I love this ep. Marcus should have a bigger part. We're going to talk about Marcus a lot tonight, obviously. He was kind of the star of the show. I'm sorry that I'm eating ice cream, but I'm also not sorry. I really wanted it. But yeah, I tweeted Stephen Cree once from the Cool Table, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was one of the first stills of his that came out, and a bunch of people were talking about it, and I said, gag me, Galaglass, and he responded to that. So he's really into people finding him hot or not. That's his brand. Hey, Lachey. So let's talk about it. Episode 4 takes place fully in the present time, or 2010, or whenever this is supposed to take place. Which kind of does make me wonder, is it supposed to be the time of the book, or is it supposed to be 2021 or 2020?
Well, they mentioned Hamilton, so...
Yes.
They did?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He said he saw it 5 times.
Who did?
They were talking about
Marcus.
Marcus.
Who did he say that to? In this episode?
Sophie.
Yeah.
Not just Phoebe. Yeah, Phoebe.
I didn't hear that. So I guess it's now. Which also I figured it had to be now because their phones are fairly new. I mean.
It was that time she kept being a real revolutionary.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yeah, it always bugs me when it's like kind of supposed to be 2012, but they have brand new iPhones. It's obviously
the clothes don't look 2021 to me, though. The clothes look more like 2012 to me.
Maybe. I was dressing cool in 2012, so I don't know. Man, my ice cream is really good, and I don't want to talk because I would rather eat it. Emma just said vampires don't give a shit about COVID. That's very true. COVID is not a part of this world, which I'm very glad to hear.
God.
Also, COVID wasn't a thing when they filmed it, so they would have had to be very.
Oh, that's
pressured.
true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Speaking of filming, just as a side note from this episode, they're like a week away from being finished filming season 3.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So that is like coming down the pike really quickly.
Is it going to be the last season in correspondence with the books, or are they going to try to drag it out?
Yeah, it's the last season.
Really?
Yeah.
But she's right. I mean, there are 2 more books. Like, they could drag it out.
Don't beat a dead horse like Outlander.
But not 2 books in this trilogy.
No, but I mean, there are definitely.
You just want to see the Marcus story.
I do. I really just want to see the Marcus story.
The Marcus story is Time's Convert, right?
It's such a good book. Yes.
Which I have not read. But no, they don't. She hasn't sold the rights to Time's Convert. So even if they wanted to make it, it would take a really long time to do all the contracts and get all of that done. So it wouldn't be something they would jump right into, and probably not even something they could jump into with the same cast, right? Because you're contracted to what you're doing.
Contracted for those seasons.
Yeah. So is she writing books that go beyond Book of Life that are Matthew and Diana books?
She said she was. Did I miss?
What are they going to be about? Like they're just going to have adventures? It's going to be Adventure a Day with Matthew and Diana?
Could be.
Their growing family. How that works out for them.
Spoiler
alert.
What growing family, Courtney? Jack!
I'm just assuming, they have
Adopted baby.
that family keeps growing. Vampire family. Got to make
So
more.
Brett says, I haven't read Time's Convert and thought the reviews weren't as good. And I will explain this, even though I haven't read Time's Convert. Here's why. Book readers, especially book readers of things like this, are very particular types of people. And most of them are pieces of shit. And when you pick up a trilogy that has a central love story and you take that story and you spin it off into something else, they don't give a shit. They don't want to read about those people. They aren't interested in what you have to say about that. If you gave them a free anthology of the entire world that was 8 million pages long with 1,500 side stories, but it didn't have the main characters from the original trilogy having sex, they would give it bad reviews. So that's where the Times Convert bad reviews come from. IMO.
Is that how you feel about the Fever series?
No, actually. I really like the rest of her books. I do really like Barron's, but it doesn't bother me that there are books that like Danny's that had like the lead or whatever. So you don't like Danny?
I can't stand her. I hate her so much.
A lot of people don't like Danny, and part of it's because she's so young. But when she ages up, it's good. It's good.
It is good. It's good.
Anywho, so that's what I think about Times Convert. Lachey just said I didn't like Times Convert as much, but I did like it. So Lachey's not a piece of shit reader. So there's also
Lachey.
There's also it may just not be as good a book, but I would think that in general the reviews are this is not about Matthew and Diana. I don't like it. That's just my feeling. But neither was this episode. Segue into episode 4. No Matthew and Diana in this episode, but did we like it?
Yes.
Yays or nays?
Yes.
Loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I watched it with my husband, and he was more invested in it than he has been the last 3 episodes. I'll say that. Like he could watch it without asking as many questions.
Yeah, see, and I'm less invested in the modern time stuff than I am in the past time stuff. As a non-book reader, like I was like, I don't care about Marcus. And I know that's going to be sacrilege to some people, but like I don't get it.
So did you not like this episode because of it?
I liked it fine because I think it's leading to something, but it wasn't like I didn't need I didn't need that extra layer of modern storytelling.
That's fair.
What do you think, Eddie?
I mean, I really loved it. I thought it was so good. I mean, and I liked seeing the mom too. Matthew's mom.
Isabel.
I was like, why can't I remember her name right now? I I like her, and I really like Marcus. Like, everybody else is like, Galaglass, and I'm like, no, Marcus, please bring it on. And I thought he was so good in this episode, too, so I was really excited.
I thought he was wonderful in this episode, for sure.
He's so good. He played the part so well. Like, that's exactly how I would anticipate Marcus to act in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Just that nonchalant kind of.
He was very smirky McSmirker stuff.
Oh, so smirky.
Totally.
And I loved it. That like British smirky dryness. I'll take it all day long.
Which is weird because he's American.
I know, but like the play, yeah. The character's all supposed to be blonde, but I think he just makes it so much better.
Yeah. Shane just said his reactions were spot on. I thought he was doing a super good job. I mean, it's obviously a bigger episode for Edward Blumell and Marcus in general, because one, he's carrying it. And two, he learns a lot in this episode and kind of, has his own love story going on, which was super sped up from how it happens in the book. But of course it was. I mean, you cannot spread out a secondary love story in a 10 episode season in a tiny, like they couldn't wait. It's not like they could have waited a day.
But I wasn't mad about it.
No, I didn't think it felt awkward or weird. Like I when they were like, let's do this, I was like, yeah, I would have done that too, girl. I loved her too.
First day, yeah. Yeah, she was so good.
Yeah. I liked the idea that she kissed him, got in a cab, left, Googled him, and like stopped the cab and was like, I'm gonna call this guy back. So I really liked the fact that it looked like it was just gonna go like a regular date, and then she ended up in bed with him. I liked it.
Although, getting back to them ending up in bed together, isn't that not supposed to happen? I was like, wait, are we back to this sex, but they're not supposed to be having sex again? Like, right?
That's Twilight. They can have sex.
No. Can they?
Yes.
Matthew can't have sex with Diana.
Yeah.
Because of the mating aspect of it, is my assumption.
But Marcus, they had the book.
They're not mated, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's I don't remember.
Being an average 20-something or whatever man.
I guess I just don't remember them having sex in the book. I thought it was the same way for the two of them that it was for Matthew and Diana.
No, because I remember, even in Times Convert, she talks a lot about flashing back about their sexual relationship before the events of that book. So,
okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't remember.
No problem.
She was very nosy. That's all I have to say about her. Like, who goes home with a guy for the first time, has no idea there's at least two other people in that house. Like, she has no idea there's a pregnant lady and another man in that house.
But
she's
look,
walking around in like a perfect lingerie camisole that she like threw in her purse real fast before she called him up, which, I mean, I guess that was good planning. And then she's just like, I feel like having a snack. I'm going to go downstairs and peruse through this guy's refrigerator. I'm going to look at this random box on his thing and open it. And she wasn't even embarrassed. She wasn't even embarrassed.
But the box opening was after she found the pint of blood. And don't tell me if
I
you
would have run screaming.
Well,
leave the house.
I was like, what is going on? I would have gone through more of the drawers. I would have been like trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
No, the fact that she stayed there and went through his stuff made me think that she was a creature of some sort. Like, it made me think that I couldn't trust her as someone who hasn't read the books. It made me think she was super sus.
Because like she asked him, are you sick? I would have thought the same thing. Is he sick? Because everything pointed to there was something weird about him. But she couldn't figure out what it was.
So Lachey and Shane are both saying, how did Marcus not hear her snooping? I agree. My headcanon about that was that he kind of,
I think he wanted her to.
I think I can't think of not a weird way to say this. I think he nutted and then fell asleep. Like, he was just being a dude. And like, they don't sleep very much, but maybe he's like super relaxed. And so he got like a little bit of vampire sleep. But what bugged me about it is she finds a blood bag in his mini fridge, which why he doesn't have a full fridge in his townhouse, I don't know. But he's a doctor. why does he not have a good lie for that? Like, there's a pregnant woman living here. That's in case something happens. She's planning on having a home birth. I mean, that would have been, it was literally at the tip of my tongue. Like, I know I'm a good liar, but he should, after all of these years, be able to come up with a couple of good ones. I'm a doctor. The woman you met, she's having a home birth here. That's for her in case she needs it.
That's why
so easy.
But that's why I think he wanted her to find it, and he wanted to tell her.
Yeah, because he just so readily was like, "I'm a vampire." And you were like, "You met her. You met her yesterday."
But they have that spidey sense going on, and they know when. I don't know.
Okay, but she works at a place where his item he was trying to buy literally got stolen, and a guard got ripped apart. He invites this girl back to his house. She knows everything about him. He's like, "Hey, you got me. I'm a vampire." After hundreds of years of secrecy, I just do not get it.
When you find the one, you find the one.
Okay,
well, but she didn't know. She didn't know that the guard got ripped apart.
No, she just knew he was missing.
No, but he knows that.
He knows.
So why would he trust her? I guess because he knows she's not a creature,
and he knows it has to do with Gerbert.
Yeah,
but did they never hire humans? They never hire humans to infiltrate. I mean, come on. They're like the.
I agree with you. Like, I think that if you're not a book reader, yes, watching Phoebe come into his life in this way, being as kind of reserved as she is, and yet helping him out, and then going on the date, and she's also pushy enough, even on the date, like to just be like, "Oh, so hot and cold is your thing." Like, good for her.
Yeah.
I think that there is a trajectory that if you're watching this, you're thinking, what is her deal? Yes, there's got to be 100%. More going on than this is just a very sweet person that he met at this auction house. I
loved when he had to leave dinner to call his grandmother, but he saw the other guy, and she's like, "That's fine. I'll just sit here and drink my gin." And
it was like a wine glass full of gin.
Oh, it was fantastic. I was like, yes, and order another because he's gonna be forever. Let's do it.
Do people drink gin like that? Is that a thing people do? Like in
Europe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to a gin bar for a boozy tea when I was in London last year, and it's a whole ass goblet full of gin.
Yeah. And I ate at a restaurant that had a gin bar in Edinburgh, and same thing.
Yeah.
Wait, Beth, I think I stayed at that hotel because I think I had that same boozy tea with the gin. Anyway,
it wasn't a hotel. It was just a gin bar. Yeah.
All right.
They love their gin.
In Covent Garden. I loved it. It's my favorite thing that I did when I was there. So Shane asked for a vampire. Did they immediately mate like the wolves in Twilight? So he knew he was mated, but she hasn't figured it out. No, they don't in this series like immediately mate because Matthew doesn't know that Diana's his mate when he meets her. There's no, imprintation or whatever, and it takes a minute. So, I mean, he could be having like pants feelings for her or something like that. But to give her the keys to the kingdom right at the beginning is very, very odd. Also, why does he keep a box of his old photos?
It's weird.
It's a huge townhouse. Like, find another fridge to keep blood in. Like, I don't know.
That house was amazing, though. That house was really amazing.
Especially the room that they were in when Miriam was there, who unfortunately was in half of a scene. Like, utilize Miriam more, please. I enjoy her perfect eyeliner. But like that room with its perfect like slate blue,
so pretty
wood trim, and then that camel covered sofa. I was like, I just wanted to dive in. I just wanted to be in that room. I almost went with camel colored back here, but we just snatched up the white instead. But anyway, I really liked that room, and I really think they need to use Miriam more. And I also thought that Sophie was strangely weird in that scene.
So weird.
When they were talking about how she had to give birth at the hospital, she was just, I don't know what was going on. There's like a subtext I'm missing.
And I missed they didn't discuss, did they discuss them living with Marcus at the end of last season? Like, was that a discussion that was going to like?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, me either.
Maybe I'm cross the book and the show I'm crossing, but I remember it's similar to her aunts going to live at Sator for their safety. They need to be hidden away.
Yeah, I think maybe
part of the plan when they left.
I think maybe there was a little bit of like discussion between Hamish and all of them about that, but it was so minor that it's not memorable.
But if he's been a doctor for like hundreds of years, I mean, isn't he a specialist at this point?
I didn't understand that either.
He's not Dr. Cullen. He doesn't have all that stuff at his house, all the equipment ready to go.
I mean, I feel like they could probably work that out. He had $200,000 to drop on those. Yeah. What was it that Molly said last week? Ye old Walgreens photos. Like he just had the money. Like he could buy some equipment for a quick NICU setup.
So speaking of those photos, I also like they got stolen, and she was like, "Sorry, you just spent $100,000 on these. They're stolen. My bad." And then he's like, "I'm so disappointed." I was like,
"Why doesn't he like?" It's very weird that he asks her out at that point. I really think it's weird.
Well, he was flirtatious with her from the very beginning, like when they were walking in, and he was talking about how the music he was listening to, and she was listening to some podcasts, which, by the way, I can totally see him listening to new wave 80s music, and it makes my heart happy. But there was like that underlying flirtation going on.
I mean, no, I get that they were flirting with one another the whole time. I mean, she was like, yeah, come back to my office from the very beginning. It's fine. Like they're flirting, but also like the thing he needed to go get is gone. It's the only thing gone.
He wasn't even that stressed about it. Like he was not even that stressed.
He probably like has been there, done that, has the t-shirt, and he's just like, okay, we'll figure it out.
Emma just said, isn't the point of the paintings just to be a calling card to the family that they made it back in time and that they're okay? Yes, but it's not just they made it and they're okay. As the head of the Knights of Lazarus, he has to be, he's actively finding anything in the past that that proves Matthew and Diana are there and confiscating it so that it doesn't get out in the world. Whether that's so that the rest of the...
Yeah, is that because they're trying to protect them from getting caught by the congregation, or is that... Oh.
Yes, that, and also I think because they are like they're previewing what's going to happen and saying we need to be in control of what this is. And we need to be in control. We need to be the ones who control this information. This is not knowledge that needs to be out in the world. It's knowledge that we need to contain.
Yeah.
Interesting. They did like a Google search alert on it. He was like, "Oh, I have like an internet alert," and I was like, "No one in the congregation thought, I know, Google alert." Look for these people. Like, why didn't they find it?
Well, I think probably because they don't know where they are. They could be in the future.
Okay.
They could be in the past. Internet's really shitty in Venice too.
Those pictures were in really good shape. They were not old.
Amazing shape.
The carbon dating system on that just gotten right down. But I think also like Matthew let Marcus and them know we're going back to a certain time. I'm going to be Matthew Royden. This is, his Google search was narrow, whereas the congregation has no idea, or where they are, or what they're doing, and wouldn't know where to begin to look. So could try, but probably weren't going to find them anywhere. But it's also part of the reason that they're trying to get all of that information. They need to be the ones that are controlling it and controlling it for themselves. I mean, I think that in the grand scheme of how time travel works, Matthew's going to have some issues with being a man out of place at a certain time, needing people who have seen him as someone else who he is in the future and have to keep that from him. So there's already secrets in their life regarding this time period. Yeah. And so they're having to like keep the secrets all in one place. Time travel is not advised, in other words. Don't do it.
Before we move past the whole him telling her he's a vampire thing, I was talking with one of my best friends who also watched the show. And remember, she was like, when he told her, when they went on their walk, "You really feel really sorry for you." And I texted her, I was like, I feel like in college, we met people with much crazier stories. And we were still like, oh, it's cool.
Well, I think that she's an adult, maybe?
Well, she didn't investigate any further. She just immediately thought he was crazy rather than like put together all the clues that she saw in his house.
Time out. She's an educated person who works in the history field, in the artifact field. and a very cute but also a little too smirky guy just told her that he's a vampire. All right.
He could have totally. If she gave him a second to prove it.
A few pictures in a blood bag and having a sketchy personality is not enough for a normal human being who's
he's so charming, though.
To think,
charming.
No. I totally.
Andy would be good. Andy would be good.
No,
I'd be like,
absolutely
okay.
not. Absolutely not. A normal person would be like, "You're fucking crazy. I'm out of here. Bye bye."
I would have snapped a picture of him and put him all over the internet. Like, be careful, ladies. This guy wants to eat your blood and parts of your body.
Me, I would be army hammering that guy out, and he'd be into the sun. Absolutely not. Yeah. Nobody needs that shit in real life, and I don't disagree with her for walking away. I'll be more disappointed when she eventually, inevitably comes back. Humans beware.
Marcus.
Also, it's very weird, and I get that there's like reasons that Deb Harkness did this. It's very weird that the three creatures that exist in this world are vampires, witches, and demons, and not, fairies or werewolves or,
But would they fall under the demon category? That seems like a very wide and vampires and witches. Or would witches be fairies also?
I mean, they have different characteristics. But the point is like, why a demon when it doesn't have the lore? It doesn't have the Christian connotation.
It's because she wanted a creature that would be her as an intelligent historian. She would be a demon, and it's this whole book is autobiographical. I am completely and I'm fine with it, but that's what it was. Like, I would be like, she's like, yeah, no, you know what? I don't have power, so I would be a demon, a very smart person who knows a lot about John D or whatever that guy's name was last episode.
Jana just said, I feel like Marcus could have done a cool vampire trick to prove it.
Yes, Jana.
It's like pulling a tree and being like, you could never fight me off, like something like that.
He could have punched a boulder. He could have punched a boulder.
Yeah.
Run around her a couple of times.
Yeah. Showed her how sparkly his chest is. I mean, if Marcus had done a vampire trick at that point, it would have been full on Twilight. In fact, I was actually really impressed.
They didn't go there.
Like, her conversation at that point is nothing to the level of Bella and Edward conversation. Mm-hmm. And I was very thankful that they were able to actually like circumvent those tropes in an interesting way in that moment, because it could have been not good. And
Are you telling me we're not going to see the spider monkey like climb a tree later? We're not going to get that?
Amazingly enough, we've gotten none of that. There's been Matthew hasn't done any vampire-y stuff with Diana.
Matthew would have been the one who did it if anyone did it.
Yeah. But I mean, there's so many other creatures. Where are the silkies? Janet said, where are the harpies? Where are the titans? Why not? Why is it
Leprechauns.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Dragons? No dragon shifters? No aliens?
I wonder if it was like lore that existed in like the 15th century, or it's like, I wonder if there's some weird tie back to that.
It was all pretty Christian based back then, though, because they had the fear of God, because they still couldn't really read. So they were just believing what they were told in church, which they had to be there. People would think that they were witches.
Yeah. Well, it's also very pagan oriented. So it's
oriented. A lot of Christianity and the early pagan stuff is, that's why it's holidays and all that.
Demons weren't really part of Christian lore until, I don't want to talk about it, but it's fairly new, actually. So, I mean, I don't know what they thought, but I don't know why it's these three still. I should probably read the books better.
But still, what she did was very true to her character. She's a strong, independent woman, and she was just like, kind of like, I'm just going to walk away. This isn't
but strong, independent women protect other strong, independent women. She needs to screenshot that guy real fast and just blast on the internet. That's all I'm saying.
Phoebe doesn't identify as a lamb.
No, she's not.
She can't be like pulled up a tree.
She's a lioness in her own right.
Right.
If he wasn't harmful though, and the D was pretty good, then maybe Phoebe would be like, "Look, I'll just leave this with some other crazy."
Clearly, the D was good because she was going to have a slumber party.
And she totally ignored the fact that he was probably freezing cold.
So, yeah.
Didn't even bring it up. And she should have. Because that's not fun. But let's talk about Sarah and M. I still love their relationship. Mm-hmm. I still love everything about when they're on screen together. I wish they got a little bit more screen time. I know not everybody agrees with that, but I really like it. And what do we think about M's summoning?
It's dangerous ground. Anytime, any book or anything, it always, whenever you start mixing the living with the dead and trying to conjure the dead, it's not good news.
It reminded me of the head on the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland Disney World. That's all I could think about the whole time. Yes, that's all I could think about the whole time.
I don't think it seems like a decent plan. Like we need to connect to the Book of Life, so let's summon a dead person who might have seen it. It seems like a stupid way to go.
Well, and clearly how desperate she was about telling, I forget the aunt's names, like I get them mixed up all the time. The one was so insistent on the other one not do it. Please don't do it because of what happened last time. Yeah. Well, we don't really know in depth what happened last time. We just know she was young in her craft, but still it had to be something that she was so desperate and like on the verge of tears, begging her not to do it. So I'm just curious. That makes me curious.
Yeah, I wonder what happened before. Emma just said, I love the filming of that ceremony.
Mm-hmm. So pretty.
It was beautiful.
She's mesmerizing. Her movements are poetry. Yes, her hand movements are very beautiful. Yeah. Like I love the way it looks. I love the burning of the sage. I love like all the candles coming up and everything being
the choreography of it all.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous little thing. I'm just also like, I don't think this is really going to work very well, especially because it's like she gets a bad connection every time. Like you really need to dive into what the Book of Life is. You're not going to have enough time to chat about it.
Did she explain, or did I miss where she explained why they were conjuring Rebecca and not Stephen, who probably has more information?
I didn't understand that.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think she has any control over who she's summoning.
Okay.
And so Rebecca's the one who answered the phone, basically.
And because she assumed that Rebecca might know if Stephen knew enough, like he might have told her. She mentioned that. So I guess maybe she was just hoping either of them would be able to give them just an inkling of information to help them.
And we've seen their bodies, right? They're like Stephen's for sure dead. It's not that he's like alive somewhere else. Like we've seen his, at least in that one photo, there's a picture of them both.
Yeah,
dead.
that's it.
Okay.
Okay. But they're dead. They're dead.
Yeah. It did kind of remind me of Harry Potter when his parents come in the graveyard of Voldemort and they're like, we can only hold on for a little bit, you know. Yeah. I was expecting that. I can only be here for a minute. What do you need? It was exactly like that, basically. But I mean, I guess any conjuring
like
dead.
That also gets more Harry Pottery later on. I don't know if they're actually going to show that in the TV show versus the book. But
Brett said, I read the book a while ago, but I feel like the scrying and the higher magic M delves into was not very clear. Potentially, yeah. Emma, Sarah's always the foil to M. I wish she'd have a more active role in supporting Diana and Matthew rather than coming off as the nag. Very true.
Except she wants to leave. Also, she wants to leave Septur. I'm like, that's not a good idea. No. Like every idea the two of them have is like dumber than the last idea. I don't know. I really love them too, but like they don't seem very bright.
That's true. Well, I think Emily does. I'm going to say Emerson. That's not her name. M seems bright. She seems emotionally smart, emotionally intelligent, whereas Sarah just seems very scattered and very, you know.
Sarah like was commenting on like, oh, you got to hold on to that vampire. She can cook. And then she was like, she like that was all of her comments was like that. And like, I'm a grown woman. I can leave if I want. Like there's bigger things happening right now, Sarah. Stay where you are.
Yeah.
So annoying.
I mean, is it just bad writing? I don't remember in the book what Sarah's supposed to be doing.
I don't remember.
Being the worrywart.
I like
Really.
that
She's like going through the libraries during the day,
Yeah.
looking for clues.
I like that she's like earthy and homey and like more of like a home witch. Like she's into the cooking and like the soil and that kind of thing. I think that's interesting, but they're not letting her be more. It feels like she's playing off as like this harpy housewife rather than like a powerful witch.
Yeah.
Is how it's coming across.
Or even just the idea that like Isabeau tells them they have to stay inside. And I really thought in that moment they were gonna be like, but our connection to the earth is what allows us to have any kind of power. If we're gonna connect with them, if we're gonna figure any of this out, we need to be able to have our hands in the soil or something like that. And nothing.
Are they earth witches? Is that a thing? Like, is that their?
I think so, because she does spells.
Okay.
Which I think means that you're an earth.
And all the herbology and the tinctures and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's their.
Yeah. Emma just said, I'd love a scene where Sarah shows us her power, which I agree. Like, she seems very impotent. She's just like, pulverizing some herbs, some rosemary at some point. That's it. She's doing nothing else. So it would be nice if she had some usefulness beyond what we've been discussing. So that'd be nice. Shelley said, Sarah was worse in the book. Maybe it's just Alex Kingston's acting that's the difference, but I really didn't like Sarah in the book. I don't really remember having much of an opinion about Sarah in the book at all. So she just comes off as kind of a bit of a plot device for me in my memory of having when I read them. So I like them in the show. I think that they offer a little bit of something that we're not getting otherwise, which is what witch world is like, because Diana's outside of it. And Peter Knox is weird too. And like all of them, and none of the witches seem to have like a coherent culture. The vampires are wealthy and powerful and kind of controlling things and moving pieces and playing chess. And the demons are like just being their creative selves, even though we have very few of them. I feel like the witch culture is non-existent, but maybe we just aren't getting a good look at it because Diana's outside of it. I don't know. Can't tell. More witches in A Discovery of Witches, please.
Also because all of the witches in the first season were like out to get her. You know what I mean? So like you don't have a good experience other than Sarah and Em. That's it as far as the witches go that we have a good experience with and in the past. Yeah.
So let's talk about the other vampires in this episode. Gerbert, which I like saying because it reminds me of that. His name is actually spelled Gerbert, which is that little orange guy that was if you're raised evangelical Christian, do you remember the Gerbert videos? Gerbert was like a little orange.
Gerbert.
He's a little orange puppet.
There.
Oh my gosh. I'm just going to Google him really quick because
I like it because my last name is Herbert and I like to think it would be Herbert if I was French, which is much better.
Be. So fancy.
Gerbert the orange puppet. Come on.
Jenna remembers.
Salty.
Oh, he's not a puppet. Oh, yeah, he was a puppet.
Jenna says it's just Gerber.
Gerber. Like I watched all the Gerbert videos. See? Yeah. Of course.
I don't remember those.
If you were raised evangelical Christian and you don't like have Gerbert on the brain, then you weren't raised evangelical Christian. So he's a little puppet.
Expensive. Oh.
I do not remember that.
Interesting.
1989 to 1991. So he wasn't around for very long. Anyway.
Have to leave an impression on you, Beth.
Unfortunately, my brain is full of way too much Christian pop culture. So, but Gerbert comes in being a bit of a badass. Like I'm not afraid of Gerbert, but I also kind of want him to win a little bit. Like I think he kind of deserves, other than like keeping that witch under his power for a couple thousand years, I feel like he deserves a little something.
He's playing the game very well. Like he is a master chess player in this game. And I kind of respect him for how he's maneuvering very much.
As a non-book reader, I don't understand why the Declaremonts need to be in charge. Like, what is it about them that is so noble and so wonderful that they're the only ones who can do it right? Like, there's got to be lots of other good vampires out there, right? No?
I think that's part of the actual problem. It's not a problem, but I think that's part of the complexity of the plot when you're reading the books is that they don't always do it right and they aren't fully noble. And so it's not that they deserve it more or whatever. It's just that they've been better at retaining power. And that is sometimes through noble means and sometimes not. So like when Marcus is discussing what is it that the knights have been doing all of this time, he isn't wrong. Sure, they helped fight the Nazis, but then so did a lot of other people. And so they have the complexity that anybody might have and yet don't have some of the narcissistic problems that people that have had power for a really long time do. So I guess they're more worried that if someone like Peter Knox or Gerbert come in power, they don't have as many checks and balances on them as the de Clermont family because the family keeps themselves in check, being kind of a larger group of powerful people and not concentrated in one person. They have loyalty to each other. So whereas like Baldwin and Matthew and Isabeau and Galaglass and Marcus and Miriam, I mean, it's a whole host of de Clermonts who keep one another accountable to how they're supposed to be.
Sure.
If Gerbert gets power, there's no one that he's loyal enough to hold himself in check.
But what does Gerbert want? Like, what is his ultimate goal? Just power?
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
And I
And
think
to see the Claremonts fail.
yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, he's just there to be the bad guy.
Okay.
And Peter Knox in the same way. And then, of course, their species are having kind of an existential crisis. Power failing in the witches and demons, increasingly like not churning out good stuff, I guess. There's no more Mozarts.
And programmers.
So I think, there's just like a little bit of a decline and the vampires are not siring. And so they're just trying to kind of figure out what to do. The Book of Life feels like the next big key to power, which in the last 500 years, maybe they haven't cared as much about the Book of Life because they haven't been faced with this kind of existential crisis.
But also if it hasn't been seen in so long, it's
Right.
not at the forefront. I mean, if you've lived for 1,000 years and you're like, oh, there was that thing, but I haven't seen it for 1,000 years. And then all of a sudden, like one witch comes and is like, I found this book. And you're like, what the?
Yeah. Shane just said Amanda Gorman would be a demon. And like, I literally thought that when I was saying there's no more Mozart.
Sure.
I was like, unless you're Amanda Gorman, like she qualifies. But yeah. Okay. So Isabeau, I think was great in this episode because she's showing some of what that power is about. She tells Gerbert very specifically, what do you know about love? And that's kind of the material point. The de Clermonts represent a group of people a group of vampires who have connections to other people, who love one another, and who do things for that love. And Gerbert is just out there for himself.
Yeah, the loyalty is extreme in that family, but not because it's forced. It's just out of love and duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is the other lab, I don't remember her name, Miriam, you said her name was, is she one of Matthew's children also, or is she something else?
She's not Matthew's daughter.
Okay.
She's somebody else's.
Okay.
I don't remember
can't
how she's
remember.
related.
I don't either.
Okay.
I'm positive she's not Matthew's sire though, but I can't remember.
And she talked about being mated in the past, so I'm assuming, is that going to be a story
Yes.
later? Okay.
I don't know if it'll be a story later,
Yes.
but her mate is dead.
That's how she's connected to Matthew, who she was mated with. Died in I think maybe in the Crusades or something. And Matthew promised to take care of her and bring her in the fold. That's what it was. Yeah, that jogged my memory a little bit.
Okay, but Matthew has blood rage.
Yes.
Did we know that this whole time?
No.
No, you just found out.
So he doesn't seem to have blood rage, guys. How's he controlling
Well,
that?
he's taking care of it. Okay, if you put together, which again, I don't think the show does a great job of this, but if you put together little bitty things that have happened in season 1 or been said in season 1 and then this season. So when Hamish tells him you're craving her,
Uh-huh.
And when he says, what happened the last time you fell in love with a warm
Sure.
blood?
Uh-huh.
And Matthew really trying to get her to leave him alone and trying to stay away from being mated to her is not just related to him being vampiric, because obviously based on what Marcus is doing with his life and whatever, like they can have regular relationships with people, which you didn't really know. But like, it's not just that he's a vampire, it's that he's a vampire afflicted with blood rage. Then of course, in this season, we've seen him 2 times, I think, get really like fucked in the face, like get really upset when he's with Kit and his like eyes are freaking out. Like he's really upset. It's like coming to the forefront, like his blood rage is coming up.
Next episode, it'll start to come more to the forefront because a character is introduced that also has the blood rage. She was in the spoiler.
It's not really a spoiler. They show us.
Well, not spoiler, but
they show Louisa and Philippe both.
I thought that was Mary Sidley. The whole time.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It's Matthew's sister, Louisa.
Oh, sure. She did say it was her brother. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you'll learn more about Matthew and about the family next week.
Kit warns Diana too about Matthew being like, "Oh, this is not the one you know," and
yeah, and Gallowglass is warning her too. Like Hamish warns her. Like they're warning her. Like he'll lose himself. We talked about that last week. Like how
that makes more
sense.
That. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Everybody's always saying it, and you're like, okay, dude. Like I get it. He'll lose himself if I'm not there to hold his hand or whatever. Yeah. That's what that's about.
Gotcha.
Again, I don't think the show is doing a good job of bringing those threads together, but hopefully it will.
Time them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the blood rage demon guy that's doing this in Oxford, that's going to hopefully bring that to full circle, but potentially not. But there is somebody that we're going to meet in the past also who has blood rage, and you're going to see, a little bit more about what that does. I forgot about it being an affliction through Isabeau's bloodline and it being something that Marcus and Isabeau have and are carriers for. And I thought it was interesting. This is the thing I had to explain to my husband this week, is that Matthew had culled Marcus's sires, I guess all throughout his existence. Every time he doesn't have any. Why Marcus doesn't have any children.
But would Marcus not know that he had blood rage? Like everyone else is warning her, like, hey, you don't know he's controlled it the whole time that Marcus has been alive? Is that or been
Marcus doesn't have it. Marcus just carries it.
But he also
she's asking about Matthew. Like, how has Marcus not seen Matthew have it?
Oh.
Right.
I think when he gets afflicted with it, he kind of goes away.
But Marcus also for a time goes away, like does his own thing.
He pulls an Edward Cullen.
He does. He goes to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And that's where the majority of his sires are when they have to go pull them.
Dawn just said, will we find out who's doing the killings in the present time? Shane asked who is doing it. And I've only seen this 7 episodes. I haven't seen all 10, so I don't know if we ever find out who does it.
Oh, that's not in the books? So. That's not a book thing?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Because you guys, I have tricked myself out so much that I convinced myself that was Gallowglass doing that this whole time. So, okay, that's interesting. Thank you.
I don't know why I just assumed that whoever has the blood rage in the past is the one doing it now.
I do too.
That might be a change. But
because whoever did it in the past, which we do meet someone who's doing it in the past, is also the person who stole the miniatures and has some sort of like reason to be doing all of this in this moment in Oxford of all places. So if they don't pull all that together, I'll be very disappointed.
They
probably will.
I can see them doing that because of some other characters who will be pulled back in the fold later. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Who knows, guys? Who knows? I wish I'd seen the whole season so I could tell you guys, but I haven't. And then Aaron just asked, with Stephen Cree monitoring Twitter for Gallaglass comments, and
Yes.
go back and watch the beginning of the Hangout because yes, he's obviously searching his
He used to
name and his
monitor.
character's name.
He used to monitor for Ian Murray quotes, like Ian Murray comments too.
Listen,
Did
no
he?
shame for that. I applaud him for that because he made my friend's day. She was mortified and awestruck all at once.
He's
She
a
was
man
like,
of the people.
I'm so happy, but also, oh, what have I done?
Also, I mean, come on, it's not that big of a deal. How many comments a day have the word Gallaglass in them? I'm gonna guess, especially in a week that he's not in the show, I would guess maybe 10 at the most. So it's not like he's doing a shit ton of vanity searching, but it's pretty funny that he did it at all.
He probably has a Google search thing pulled up just like Marcus did.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of the columns in his tweet deck.
Yep.
He just checks it on a regular basis. Isabeau mentioned to Diana that Matthew had early feeding frenzies and Philippe sheltered her from it. So there's a lot of background between Philippe and Isabeau and Matthew and what their relationship was like and what went on with all of that. But I think that okay.
I have a question about the brother who came in and wanted to take over the Knights of Lazarus.
That's Baldwin.
Was he kicked off the congregation, or does he wanted to do both? I can't
He's on
remember.
the congregation.
Yeah, he's still on the congregation. They
He just wants like a total power takeover. He wants to take over both branches of government.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. He doesn't really see a point in Marcus doing it, which, I mean, if you look at Marcus's personality, like, yeah, why are you the Knights of Lazarus?
And also,
You know
he
what I mean?
feels like he has the lineage over Marcus.
Well, Baldwin's not wrong in that Marcus found out that the miniatures were missing and like went to dinner with the with the lady. So
And insult with her, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Can I just say my favorite Marcus moment the entire episode was when Isabeau was like, well, then I guess you're gonna have to kill her. And he was just like that
It was-
whip. It was so funny when he looked like a whip puppy.
It was so nonchalant too. She's like, "Well, I guess you're gonna have to kill." Yeah, I mean, just that whole conversation.
Well, I mean, yeah.
that was my response. Like, why did you just tell her now she has to die?
It makes sense. I mean, I don't think that it's not like them mating with people of other species is a normal everyday occurrence. And it's not in anywhere in Isabeau's mind that Marcus is thinking he's going to mate with this woman he just met. So in her mind, she's like, well, bye to this girl, whoever she is.
Isabeau's not even a fan of the witches. Like, what makes anything that's not a vampire?
I mean,
She's
imagine.
She's like a Southern Belle.
Imagine Christmas.
But that's okay. But that's what I'm saying. She apparently has some blood-raged daughter who's Matthew's sister,
Uh-huh.
and then all these other people. And then she just like, why is she a safe place for Em and Sarah? I feel like those people could just walk into their childhood home
Because she's
at any point.
she's asymptomatic.
Yeah,
No, I
but
don't mean them. Like,
they
what
could
if
come
like,
home.
yeah, they could come home, visit mom or grandma.
I think Louisa's pretty estranged.
Okay.
She is.
She's not going to come home. And I mean, they have gotten the blood rage in check. So anybody who's still afflicted with the blood rage is in check. I mean, Matthew hasn't had a problem for centuries. And I don't know about Louisa. I don't remember. But it's not like running around
Okay.
still being a problem.
No, but it is. It's running around in Oxford right now.
Right. Yes.
True.
Wonder if it's Louisa in that tracksuit.
That's what I'm.
crazy.
Well, it looked like a dude. It didn't
It
look
does
like
look
a
like a dude.
Yeah.
It's definitely a tracksuit at some point.
It's modern times. She can wear pants. She just wants to be comfortable.
I think she would be a little bit fancier.
I think so too.
Yeah. I do like the girl that's playing Louisa, and I think she does a good job. Next week's going to be fun.
It's the same. It's the same actress as Mary Sidley. You're not going to convince me otherwise. They look exactly the same.
They don't. Yes, they're dark-haired white ladies. They don't look the same.
All white people look the same to me, Beth.
I know. They're different. They're very different. No, they do look alike. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. If Marcus was in the past, you'd be like, is that Kit Marlowe or is that Marcus?
Yes, and that's why I had like I did question Matthew's relationship with with Marcus after seeing Kay. I was like, oh, Matthew has a type, but it's his son, so maybe not.
Yeah, it's his son.
Yeah,
sort of. So yeah, it's not a thing. But all right, this was a great episode, you guys. I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that they went back and took an entire episode to tell us some stuff that was going on in the present. I think with a little bit more skill, it would have been interesting to see the miniatures being made or being given to Jack at the same time that Marcus is looking for them and finding them at an auction house. I think it would have taken slightly more skilled writer's room to do that. But I'm happy with what they did. But it would have been funner in a different world. I like the idea that it's, happening at the same time. So.
It would have been easier. It would have been easy to have pieced it into the last episode of him meeting Phoebe, and maybe this episode that they're like in love or whatever is happening with the miniatures. Like if they could have been weaved in between the two, between past and present.
It definitely wouldn't have felt as fast.
Yeah.
And the miniatures in last week were so dumb. So just handing them to Jack and be like, we got these made for you, and that we barely know you. And like they never showed them getting them made. It would have been something they would have had to sit for. We talked about this last week. Like, when did they sit for miniatures amidst all of the stuff that they've been doing? And so it would have been cool if it had been something that they showed happening as they're showing Marcus, like looking for something in the past. And then as those miniatures get completed, then Marcus has the Google search, right? Then it pops up.
That would have been fun.
I know. Guys, again.
You should write this.
It's not hard to call me and put me in your writer's room. See how easy I came up with that?
That would have been a great look at their like normal life in 15th century.
Did anyone else wonder how a street urchin 10-year-old kept those miniatures safe for more than 10 minutes?
If you think of, never mind. You know that.
I mean, yes.
I know, but he's also 10. Like,
look, I have a 10-year-old. She holds on to the most random things. So things that are important-ish, she'll lose. Things that are like random, she'll keep. Like she got this like golden dragon necklace for karate that she loves. I wanted to lose it so badly. But.
Yeah, and I mean, my daughter has rocks.
Yes.
From 2008.
Yes, we have rocks.
Yeah. So
are we going to see the statue that the demon girl gave to Diana soon?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, what a waste.
Yeah.
For real.
Chekhov's gun, that shit. All right, you guys, we will see you next week. We may not be the chess piece, but we are the miniatures. We will be here next week talking about episode 5. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been fun. And we'll see you